Welcome back to the Simplified Summary channel. You're tuning in to a special edition of our show, The Deep Dive.
Yeah, we've got a really great one today.
We really do. Today we're taking classic literature and just extracting the absolute best narrative nuggets and psychological insights.
Right, diving right into the good stuff.
Exactly. And today's deep dive is, well, it's a masterclass in irony. We are unpacking a classic heist, a brilliant plot twist, and honestly, the ultimate psychological trap of human greed.
It's a fascinating look at how we sabotage ourselves.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But before we get into all of that, I want to humbly ask you, yes, you watching right now, to do us a quick favor.
Hit that button.
Right. If you enjoyed these simplified summaries, please hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop your valuable comments below.
It really helps us out.
It does. Your support is what allows us to keep bringing these incredible stories to life. Okay, so let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Our mission today is highly focused. We are exploring one specific story from Munshi Premchand's classic Mansarovar Part 2 collection.
And it is a remarkably layered story. We're looking at Kudai Fauzdar, which roughly translates to the Army of God.
Yeah, that title immediately caught my attention. I mean, why would a gang of extortionists call themselves the Army of God?
It's quite a choice.
Right. It reads so much like a modern thriller, but it's set in early 20th century India. It honestly has the pacing of a con movie.
Like Ocean's 11 or something.
Exactly, but infused with Premchand's signature social critique.
Yeah, the title is really our first major clue about the thematic depth of the story. Premchand is setting up a clash of moralities here.
He's not just trying to entertain us.
No, not at all. He doesn't just want to entertain you with a clever trick. He wants to expose the rotting foundation of a certain type of societal hypocrisy.
Right.
So that Army of God moniker, it suggests a force of divine retribution coming for someone who basically believes they are untouchable.
And that untouchable figure is our protagonist, Seth Nanakschand.
Yes, SG.
The picture Premchand paints of this guy is so visceral. He is a Mahajan, a wealthy moneylender.
And not a friendly neighborhood lender either.
No. In the context of his community, he is undeniably ruthless. The text literally makes the observation that this is a man who would extract money even from corpses if he could just figure out a way to do it.
Which tells you everything you need to know about his morals.
Absolutely. He operates completely devoid of pity, compassion, or empathy.
Which is what makes his internal narrative so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
You have this cutthroat capitalist who wouldn't blink at ruining a generational family farm for a few rupees of unpaid interest.
Just squeezing them dry.
Right. Yet Setji considers himself a deeply pious, highly religious man.
It's wild.
He doesn't look in the mirror and see a villain. He sees a pillar of the community, someone who has earned his wealth through divine favor.
And his religious routine is intense to back that up. Like
Yeah.
every single full moon, he sits and listens to the Satyanarayan Katha, which is a traditional Hindu religious tale meant to bring prosperity.
Just checking the boxes.
Yeah.
And on Tuesdays, he offers laddus to Lord Mahabir. He bathes daily in the holy Yamuna River, ostensibly to wash away his sins.
A daily cleanse for daily sins.
Exactly. And he makes sure to feed the priests on Ekadashi, which is this highly auspicious fasting day in the Hindu calendar.
But notice the transactional nature of all those rituals.
Oh, completely.
He views religion the exact same way he views money lending. He is paying his premiums to the divine.
Buying cosmic insurance.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
He offers sweets, he listens to the stories, he feeds the priests on the correct fasting days, and in return, he fully expects his karma to be wiped clean.
It's a psychological armor.
Yes. He uses these rituals to justify his extreme financial exploitation during the rest of the week.
And the ultimate expression of that hypocrisy involves a dharamshala he's planning to build.
All this part is brilliant.
Right. For those who don't know, a dharamshala is a religious rest house for pilgrims and the poor. Building one is considered a massive act of charity.
Huge status symbol, too.
Yeah. But get this, he is funding this grand philanthropic project entirely through the exploitative profits he's making from cornering the local market on ghee.
He is actively squeezing the life out of everyday buyers to build a monument to his own piety.
It's so dark.
And it gets darker. To add another layer of dark comedy to the situation, he is currently plotting to ruin the man supplying the bricks and mortar for the project.
The hypocrisy is just off the charts.
Setji is patiently waiting to trap this local supplier into a high-interest loan. His master plan is to use crushing debt as leverage to extort the building materials for free.
So he wants to build a charitable rest house using stolen bricks and exported labor.
That is the mindset we are dealing with here.
Okay, so that sets the stage perfectly for when the inciting incident finally drops. Seth G's comfortable, calculated routine is totally shattered when he receives a threatening letter.
And it isn't even the first one.
Right, it's the third letter from this mysterious group calling themselves the Kudai Fauzdar.
The psychology of this specific threat is perfectly calibrated to hit a hoarder's weak spots.
They really did their homework.
They did. The letters aren't relying on vague threats of violence. They are surgical.
They demand exactly 25,000 rupees. It's not a negotiation. And to prove they've been watching how closely, they casually drop the fact that they know Seth G has a hidden stash of 100,000 gold coins.
They know his deepest financial secrets, which is terrifying for a guy like him.
Completely. And the letter explicitly warns him not to bother relying on the police for help. They boast that they will attack tonight, openly, in broad daylight.
Because they are warriors, not thieves.
Yeah, they even taunt him with a proverb about the goddess of wealth.
So how does a man with an ironclad heart react to a threat that completely bypasses his societal power?
Not well.
Exactly. A man who extracts money from corpses suddenly finds himself on the receiving end of an uncompromising demand. Despite his tough exterior and his profound belief that his daily Yamuna baths make him untouchable,
He just falls apart.
he completely unravels.
You really get a sense of his physical collapse in the text. He goes deathly pale. His hands tremble so violently he can barely hold the paper.
His breathing becomes heavy and labored.
Right. He immediately abandons his business, locks away his ledgers, and just shoves his loose cash into his heavy iron safe. He practically turns into a ghost haunting his own house.
Locking all the doors and retreating inward, his entire worldview has fractured.
Why do you think it hits him that hard, physically?
Because when your identity and your sense of security are entirely tied to hoarded wealth, the threat of losing that wealth is an existential crisis.
It's like a threat to his actual life.
Yes, it shatters your peace of mind. Seth G has no real friends. He only has clients he has exploited or competitors he has intimidated.
So no one to call for help.
Right. His wealth is his only shield, and suddenly he realizes it's the very thing putting a giant target on his back.
We also briefly meet Kizar in this moment of panic. She is Seth G's companion.
And she is quite the character.
Yeah, even though she is older, she acts young and remains completely obsessed with luxury and hoarding wealth.
She's living in a bubble.
When Seth G runs to her in a panic with the letter, she is blind to the impending reality of the situation. She is arrogant, essentially dismissing the threat because she can't even comprehend anyone actually breaching their fortress.
She represents the blinding nature of unchecked privilege.
That's a great way to put it.
Her obsession with material accumulation has completely disconnected her from the danger looming right outside their door. She is just another symptom of the household's toxic relationship with money.
So the house is locked down tighter than a drum. Seth G is having a full-blown panic attack, Kizar is in denial, and then there is a knock at the door.
The time is perfect.
You can imagine the sheer terror in that moment. A servant cautiously checks and announces that 4 police constables have arrived from the local station.
And Seth G is instantly flooded with this overwhelming wave of relief.
His prayers are answered.
In his mind, his transactional relationship with the universe has finally paid off. The state has sent the authorities to protect his hard-extorted wealth.
He practically runs to invite them in. And the behavior of these constables is so fascinating.
They play the part perfectly.
They really do. These aren't your average rough-around-the-edges beat cops. They are incredibly polite, almost overly deferential. They salute Seth G sharply.
Specifically, like English officers saluting a superior.
Yes. It completely strokes his fragile ego. The head constable apologizes profusely for the intrusion. He explains that the local inspector really wanted to come himself to check on the great Seth G, but was tied up.
Classic flattery.
Right, but the inspector was so worried about Seth G's safety that he sent his absolute best men specifically to protect him.
The constable then leans in and starts playing on Seth G's paranoia beautifully. He doesn't downplay the threat at all.
No, he makes it sound way worse.
He amplifies it. He warns Seth G that these specific criminals are absolute masters of disguise and infiltration.
He starts listing off the disguises the police supposedly have intelligence on. He tells Seth G to watch his back for dacoits dressed as Bairajis, which are wandering religious ascetics.
very common to see on the street.
Exactly. And he warns about men posing as Punjabis selling shawls around the neighborhood and Balochis walking door to door selling locks and knives.
He's turning every normal street vendor into a potential assassin in Sethji's mind.
It creates this intense atmosphere of paranoia where Sethji feels like he can't trust anyone he sees on the street, except, of course, these highly informed, helpful constables standing right in front of him.
It's a brilliant display of psychological manipulation.
Masterful.
These fake police officers are establishing authority by possessing insider knowledge. But they don't just offer to stand guard at the gate.
No, that would be too simple.
Right. They present a logical, tactical scenario that feeds directly into Sethji's worst fears. They tell him that if the dacoits attack in the numbers expected, a massive shootout will happen right here in the courtyard.
Lives could be lost. The house could be burned to the ground.
And then they pitch an alternative.
The ultimate Trojan horse.
Yes.
They suggest that Sethji load all of his most valuable liquid possessions into his own motor car. The constables will then personally, heavily armed, escort his car to the government treasury for safekeeping until the threat is neutralized.
It is so similar to modern authority scams.
Oh, that's a really good point.
It's like someone getting a call from a fake IRS agent being told they're going to be arrested for tax fraud.
Yeah.
And out of sheer panic, they willingly buy thousands of dollars in gift cards to pay off the supposed debt.
We see it all the time.
The victim is so terrified of the imaginary threat and so trusting of the supposed authority figure that they bypass all their normal critical thinking skills. They hand over their money voluntarily.
That is the perfect analogy. They essentially tell him, we represent the safety of the state. We are here to protect your capital. Let us help you move your capital to the ultimate impenetrable fortress.
And he buys it hook, line, and sinker.
Because he is so blinded by terror and so relieved to have a plan handed to him by men in uniform, he doesn't see a single red flag.
The execution of the con relies entirely on his voluntary surrender.
Sethji and Kezar fall for it completely. In fact, Kezar is almost arrogant about the whole process.
She really doesn't get it.
No, she literally tells the constables to just take the heavy keyring and go empty the chest themselves. It's an attitude of, we are too rich and stressed to pack our own bags. You do the heavy lifting.
And the constables, naturally, are more than happy to oblige.
Obviously.
But they do it meticulously. This is a stroke of genius on Premchand's part. It adds so much to the illusion of official police procedure.
They aren't rushing.
Right, they don't just frantically grab things and stuff them in bags. They carefully, methodically load the heavy jewelry, the bags clinking with gold coins, the neat stacks of promissory notes, the silver rupees, the expensive silks and clothes.
They even pack Kezar's prized vanity box, her Shringardan. And to make it look incredibly official, one of the constables stands there with a little notebook writing every single item down.
Making a detailed inventory list for the Treasury records.
It's such a brilliant touch. It makes Sethji feel like this is a highly regulated bureaucratic process. He's not giving his wealth away, he's depositing it.
But there is a brief moment where the entire operation balances on a knife's edge.
Oh yeah, I held my breath reading this part.
The tension spikes just as they are finishing up the packing.
As they are closing the final chest, Sethji suddenly gets a tiny twinge of doubt. The fog clears for just a second. He looks at the keys and asks the head constable about them.
He wants to know if he gets to keep the keys to the Treasury box.
It's the only time Sethji's shrewd, calculating business sense briefly flickers back to life.
But the fake constable handles it masterfully.
He pivots so fast.
He doesn't argue or try to persuade him. He feigns intense personal offense. He essentially says, if you doubt our integrity, after we risked our lives coming here to save you, after the inspector personally sent us, fine, we can just unload the car right now and leave you to deal with the dacoits on your own.
He threatens to take away the safety net.
Exactly.
And Sethji, utterly embarrassed and totally desperate for their armed protection, immediately backs down. He apologizes.
He's literally apologizing to the people who are in the middle of robbing him blind.
He begs them to keep the keys and not to be offended. It's incredible.
So with the crisis averted, Sethji and the heavily armed constables get into the fully loaded motor car and they drive off towards the supposed safety of the government treasury.
Leaving Kezar behind in the empty house.
Right, and they head out onto the road.
Once they're a good distance away, on a quiet, deserted stretch of road, the climax hits. One of the constables drops the act completely.
The polite, subservient tone is gone instantly.
He turns to Sethji and starts preaching to him. He says that their fundamental life principle is actually not to trouble anyone, but that rich people have upside-down brains.
Multicopty. That is the profound philosophical center of the story. The robber is diagnosing Sethji's spiritual sickness right to his face.
The inverted thinking of the ultra-wealthy hoarder?
Yes. They mistake hoarding for security. They mistake exploitation for good business. They mistake isolation for safety.
The man looks right at a terrified Sethji and declares that they haven't come to protect his wealth or trouble him. They have come to do him a favor.
They've come to cut his chains.
And then comes the ultimate devastating reveal. They are the Kudai Fauzdar.
The army of God wasn't coming in the night.
No, they were inside the house the whole time, invited in through the front door.
And the psychological collapse of Sethji in this exact moment is absolute. It's described as a feeling of falling from the sky straight into the netherworld.
All his senses fail him.
The shock of realizing his own complicity in his ruin is just too much for his system. He faints dead away in the seat.
And they don't even have the decency to stop the car properly to let him out. They unceremoniously, brutally push his unconscious body out of the door of his own moving motor car.
Adding injury to insult.
Seriously, he tumbles into the dust on the side of the road, left with absolutely nothing. His gold, his ledgers, his car, all gone.
It's really worth unpacking the layered irony of this ending. Sethji's consuming fear of being robbed, a fear born directly from his own guilt, his ruthless extortion, and his obsessive greed caused him to literally hand-pack his own wealth.
He did all the hard work for them.
He loaded it into his own vehicle and hand-delivered it to the robbers with an apology.
If he had just stayed calm, if he had trusted his neighbors instead of exploiting them, or if he simply hadn't been hoarding such an obscene amount of wealth in the first place, none of this would have happened.
His paranoia, fueled by his greed, was the exact instrument of his own undoing.
It's poetic justice served cold on the side of a dirt road.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, Premchand's tale isn't just a clever heist story meant to entertain. It's a piercing, timeless commentary on how extreme greed and the illusion of control that wealth provides eventually make us our own worst enemies.
We trap ourselves.
Exactly. Sethji built a literal and psychological fortress of money, but he was actually the prisoner trapped inside it. The Kudai Fauzdar didn't just steal his gold coins, they shattered his entire worldview.
They proved that his piety was fake.
His security was an illusion, and his wealth was just a heavy chain waiting to be cut.
It's a brilliant takedown of the idea that money insulates you from consequence.
It really is.
Before we leave you to ponder your own relationship with your bank account, a quick reminder. If you're watching this deep dive on the Simplified Summary YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe.
And hit that like button right now to help out the algorithm.
Yes, and most importantly, drop a comment below sharing your favorite part of this incredible plot twist. Did you see the fake cocks coming? Do you think Sethji deserved his fate? Let us know down in the comments.
The twist really stays with you, forcing you to reevaluate who was actually the captive and who was the liberator in that story.
Truly. So, to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over today, does the relentless pursuit of wealth eventually build a psychological prison so terrifying, so isolating, that when pushed by our own paranoia, we will blindly hand the keys over to our worst nightmares?
Think about it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.